the eyes that looked at Charlie were also full of horror. Why is this guy so scary? Before the three of them actually fought him, they were hit by this person and they lost their combat effectiveness? This is simply a god. Charlie stepped up to the three of them, stared at them with two cold lights, and said coldly, "I like being a dog for others so much. Then they will all crawl on the ground." After speaking, he stepped on the right leg of one of them. Click. The kneecap of the right leg was crushed. Immediately afterward, he raised his foot again, and the opponent's left leg was not let go. Seeing this, the other two trembled in shock. Immediately, the two cried and begged Charlie for mercy. Charlie said coldly, "You gangsters are more cruel than anyone when they hurt people, and more cowardly than anyone when they hurt you. I let you go today, and when you face the weak in the future, you will definitely be this vicious face. I abolished you for the sake of the people. After all, don't care about the other parties crying and wailing at all. Going up is 4 feet. Click. 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 In the world, there have been 3 more useless people who can no longer stand up. The scene was frightened by Charlie's brutal methods. Fredman Wilson and Wendy, who followed, were also frightened. Fredman Wilson never dreamed that Charlie would be so ruthless and so strong. His 4 bodyguards, 1 face-to-face effort, were all gone. Completely scrapped. They are all master fighters. One of them was the national champion of fighting in previous years. Fredman Wilson's frightened legs swung straight, and the place where he was wet before felt cold. He turned around silently, stepping to escape. Whatever you say, you can no longer fall into Charlie's hands. At this time, someone suddenly said, "You old dog, you want to slip if you provoke Mr. Wade?" Immediately after the crowd separated, Orville walked in with a few brawny men in black, with a sneer, directly stopped in front of Fredman Wilson. Fredman Wilson looked at him in a panic and asked, "Who are you?" Snapped. His response was a resounding slap in the face. 5 fingerprints appeared on Fredman Wilson's face, and he furiously said, "Do you dare to hit me? I am the president of the Nongguang Chamber of Commerce." Snapped. Orville didn't show any mercy and slapped his face again. "Guild leader? You're fighting the chairman. If you dare to be disrespectful to Mr. Charlie, you will die." Fredman Wilson was angry and frightened, and hurriedly said, "Misunderstanding. Misunderstanding. Between me and Mr. Charlie, it is just a misunderstanding. I'm leaving now, I'm leaving now. Want to go?" Orville smiled contemptuously and said, "Have you asked Mr. Wade?" Fredman Wilson hurriedly turned his head, looked at Charlie, and pleaded tremblingly, "Charlie, Mr. Charlie, it was a misunderstanding just now. These 4 guys troubled you, and I can't stop them. They are here now, facing the end they deserved. Please let me go." Charlie nodded and smiled. "Okay, I can let you go. After all, I let you go just now." Having said that, Charlie looked at him and said playfully, "However, what should you do? Do I need to teach you any more?" Fredman Wilson was afraid that Charlie would abolish him like a bodyguard, so he knelt on the ground with a plop, crying in tears, and begged, "Dad, I beg you, my lord, have a lot, so please spare your son this time." Orville was stunned and blurted out, "F***ck it. You really are so conscious." Fredman Wilson smiled bitterly and said, "I'll tell you, I'm already skilled in business." There was a sneer around. This Fredman Wilson is really unseated. At this moment, he called Charlie's father 3 times. What the H*LL is the famous chairman of Future Company Group. However, how can Fredman Wilson take care of it now? He knows that a man must be able to bend and stretch. To be alive, you must first have fate before you can have a seed, right? Life is gone. Does he want to plant an egg? Therefore, he hurriedly licked his face and said to Charlie, "Dad, please raise your hand and spare me this time. I will be grateful to Dade and Dad forever." Charlie waved his hand and said with a smile, It's okay to call Dad just now, but it doesn't work now. Fredman Wilson was startled, thinking that Charlie was going to kill him, and kowtow hurriedly crying, "Dad, I'm really wrong, Dad. Please, for the sake of my age, please spare me this time." Charlie glanced at Wendy, who was already scared next to him, and said lightly, "Wendy, your patrons are already kneeling. Why are you still standing?" Wendy was taken aback, and said in a panic, "What do you mean?" Fredman Wilson hurriedly stretched out his hand and violently pulled her to the ground, causing her to kneel in front of Charlie, and whispered, "You let the dog eat your brain? Don't you know you want to kneel and talk to Father?" No way. Fredman Wilson's desire to survive at this moment is too strong. Face, dignity, face, and so on are completely unimportant. Wendy knelt on the ground and did not dare to move or talk nonsense. Fredman Wilson then said to Charlie, "Dad, are you satisfied this time?" Charlie shook his head, not satisfied. Fredman Wilson trembled and asked, "Then how can you be satisfied?" Charlie smiled playfully and said, "Call me Grandpa loudly. If the call is good, I can consider letting you go." Fredman Wilson's heart wants to die. Today, he has a brain problem. He had to fight against this Charlie. Not only did he not take advantage of it, but it was bad luck. Beaten, knelt, kowtowed, called Dad, peed pants. Now, let him call his grandpa. It's shameful to throw it at Grandma's house. Seeing him hesitate, Charlie asked coldly, "What? You don't want to?"